We, can we start with Ankita ji? You have prepared your project proposal, then we can discuss about it.
Yes.
Will you be able to talk about your project? Even if you are not prepared, we can have a live discussion on that. Just talk of the topic and we can build on that. Ankita ji, can you talk about your project? हेलो, आप आपके प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में बता सकते हैं?
सर बनाया नहीं है तो मैं कल बना लूंगी नेक्स्ट सेशन में।
अच्छा, नेक्स्ट कोई बात नहीं तो आई थिंक
जी
आई विल
जी
बी स्टार्टिंग टुडे अबाउट द स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन, राइट? So,
ये
have you heard of standardization? You are from
नो
which
सर।
department? You are from which department?
सर आई एम फ्रॉम माइकोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट।
Microbiology.
यस सर।
Your voice is not clear, but anyway, now I will be sharing one file. Right now it is a public, but we'll convert into that. Share.
यस सर।
Yeah. So, let me make it a little bit more. Yes. Mm. Can you see my screen? My screen is visible. Country A and is it clear? My
the quality of data is not good here. That's why.
voice is not clear. Anyway, this is a country A is having a 20 lakh population. Country B is a 40 lakh population. We'll later on change this for the microbiology department. Here the dates, total number of days in a 1 year is 2,500, and here is the dates is 3,500. Now, if we look at the death rate, right? Death rate, which country is having more deaths, this or that, B or A, based on this figure? Can you find out? Can you tell me that? Which country is having more death rate?
Uh,
So let's find out. So if you multiply by 1,000, it will be 1.25. 1.25 per thousand. Uh, you multiply 1,000 is 12.5. So 20 lakh. Is it now? 25. So let's say if we keep it like this, 22 lakh, then it will be 12.5 per thousand. And this same thing right here, it is 8.75. Now, you tell me country A and country B, which death rate is more? Which is death
Actually,
rate per thousand population? Your voice is not clear. Can you change your mic or something like that? Is it possible? Or internet is not proper?
no, actually, yes, yes, sir.
So it seems that country A is having more death rate, right? Compared to country B. But in this case, actually we got connection again. Can you see the screen? Hello. Is it possible for you to see the screen? Anyway, I let me continue. So it seems that in this 2 lakh population, 2,500 deaths is comparatively much more than the country B. It is 12.5 while it is 8.75 per thousand. So it seems that the death rate in country B is much less than death rate of country A. But this is known as crude death rate because crude death rate doesn't consider the population composition. So if you look at the population composition, then it is possible that more old people are there in this population compared to this population. So because of old age people, naturally they will die more. And if you look at the standardized death rate, then we'll actually know that which death rate is more. That's why when you compare, this is a crude death rate. While we need to look at the standardized death rate, right? So in standardized death rate, what you do that you don't directly take a population, but you take a subpopulation. So as in subpopulation, there may be the old age people percentage we need to look at that how many old people you can say the more than 60 years, more than 70 years. You compare these population both the group. And here also the same population. Suppose in this population, old age people are 50,000. And here the old age population is only, let's say, 10,000. Then naturally death rate in old population will be much more compared to the death rate in the uh, old population, other population. So in country B, the old population is only 10,000 and it is 50,000. 25% are making the composition in the total population, while this is 10,000 almost means 25, 2.5% of total population. So 25%, it is 2.5%. So this big difference, if the deaths among the old people is much more, then it will affect the 12.5. And because this is less, this may affect crude death rate. And that may be the reason why it shows overall less death rate compared to this. So based on crude death rate, we cannot conclude that the death rate in country A is more. We need to standardize the death rate and then compare the overall standardized death rate. And for standardized death rate, what you should be doing that you need to look at the population composition of both the country and then either we need to take standard population, standard population, or you should apply standard rate. One of the things should be applied to both the population, and then you should calculate standardized death rate. Then we can conclude that yes, there is a more or less death rate in both the countries. So standardization process is very, very important. So for this country, you take a standard population, apply this rate over there. This country also the same standard population you take and apply this and applies this current death rate. Then you can have standardized death rate. So one of the things you should have either a standard population or standard rate. When standard population is not available at that time, both countries, the subcomponent should be available. Subcomponent means you should have something like this 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, like this, uh, 85 to 90 years, and country A, country B. This subpopulation should be there. And then you can find out if the global standard is not available, you take average of both. And that you apply over here. And then both countries, their age-wise death rate you should be taking and then apply to the average population and then find out what would be the death rate in population A if this average population is applied. For example, this is out of 20 to 2 lakh population. Suppose this is the 20,000 and in B out of 40,000, it is, let's say, 50,000 like this. So this sub-component we need to take, right? And then once you take an average population, for each population, what is the number of deaths that we need to apply to the average based on average population, both side, average population, and then we can find out the standardized death rate. So this is a procedure by which you should not look at the data like this because this is death rate 12.5 and this is death rate 8.75. So the death rate in the country A is more. This is not the case. We should not look at like this. Another example, let me give you. There is a population, say in the 1,000 patients in the hospital and at home. Again, we are comparing 1,000 patients of COVID-19. COVID-19, right? In this case, death among the hospital patients, out of 1,000, 200 patients died. And at home, out of 1,000, only 50 patients died. So the question arises that here the death rate is, as if you look at the percentage, is 20% death rate. While here the death rate is 5%. So naturally we will say that which death rate is more in a hospital or at home? If you say that in hospital death rate is more, does it mean that hospital is killing the patients? No, it's not like that. Here also we need to go for standardized death rate because see, we need to see the subcomponent of this 200 patients. We have to divide it into three categories: serious, then the moderate, moderately serious, and less serious. Let's say out of these 200 patients, 100 patients are serious, 80 are moderately serious, and 20 are just the serious. While in case at home, it could be out of 50 patients, the out of the a little bit 800, the figure would be like this 800. um, Then moderate would be around the 150 and 50 will be here. This is the total number of 1,000 patients analysis. While at home, it could be something like that, maybe 20 over here, and the moderate may be around 80 and 90, 900 maybe mild. So making a total 1,000 patients over here. Now, now we are talking about the COVID-19 and analysis and comparing the death rate between hospital and at home. Now look at this, that if you look at the death rate only 20%, 5%, we can say that at home, the deaths are comparatively less. But if you look at the subcomponent, then we'll understand what is the death rate over here. So subcomponent could be like this. Total number of deaths here is 200 and total number of deaths over here is 50. Now let us look how we'll be able to come at the figure. Here, out of 20, let's say the 15 dies. Out of 800, the number of deaths are 180. And here is almost the 20. Here the death is nil. And in this case, here the death is 10. And here the days is 25. Now, if you look at this data, then if you consider that if the population, this is 800, this is 20. The common population, if you take that per 1,000 population, 820 divided by in 2000. So divided by 2, if you take a standard population over here, 1,000, then you will see that the population over here would be 820 divided by 2, 410 will be the standard population having a serious effect. And here it will be 230 means 150, and this will be 454, 75. 475, making it the 1,000 population. So if you take this, suppose this would have been the uh, number of patients at hospital and home, and then apply this death rate to this population, and then compare the hospital and the home, then you will understand what will be the actual death rate. So here it is 75%. Here it is approximately 100 or 80, around 12%. This will be about 25, so around 27% or so. And look at over here, 180 out of the 800, right? That means around 25, 22% or so. And look at this, 150 out of the 20 died. The seventh, the 50 out of the 20, and so 27, 13%, something like that. So 13%, and here is a 0%. Now, this percentage, instead of having this population, if you apply, if this is a population, suppose in the patient, you apply the hospital rate over here and you apply the home rate over here and look at then what will be the actual standardized death rate in the both the things. Now, as the hospital 22% of 410, that would be around 88. And the 75% of 410, that would be around 100. 75% of 410, that will be around 300, right? And then look at the 13%, 12% for 115 will be around 150. If this is 115, this is a 13%, this is 12%. So almost both will be equal. Let's say considering this almost will be 15 somewhere. This is the actual number of days considering applying this rate, right? And this is a 50 out of 0. So here it will be a 0. And you apply the 27% over here, apply 27% will be 1/4, 115, somewhere like 115. So make a total now this. And if you make a total this, see now you can look at this that if you apply standardized death rate of the patient, if you consider in a hospital it is 103 out of 1,000, that means it approximately 10%, right? While if you look at the home, it is 42%. So at home, the death is much more than at a hospital. But if you look at this data, this 20% and 5%, you say that more people die in the hospital. So we need to have a subcategory of the population. You take the standardized population and apply this rate, and then you will be able to find out standardized death rate in the hospital and at home. So if you look at the direct death rate, is a crude death is a different thing. Standardized death rate, if you look at that, the hospital is having 10% and the at home is 42%. So this is how we need to look at the data. So thank you very much for patient listening. And I hope that you will be going through this process of standardization. And here we have applied the standard population over here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
वो तो तेरे